So hi everyone. So DBT complete interview preparation. So today what I'm going to tell. So those questions only they going to ask in the interview. Okay. And we already have done three classes, right? So we're going to revision today everything in first class, second class, and third class interview preparation classes. What we have done, same thing we're going to discuss. So this is final one. Okay, just listen carefully. Okay, so in practice. Yeah. So today you need to write one test regarding DBT interview questions. Okay. So first of all, what is DBT? Okay, what is DBT? So it is like ELT tool. So we have ETL ELT tool. ELT means start, okay, load, transform. So when data warehouse having the data, then we need to connect with the DBT, then we need to do the transformations. Not only for transformation, it will also do extract and load. Okay, we have seeds, right? DBT, that one. So why transformation in DBT? We can do the transformation within the Snowflake, right? So why we still be using DBT? So we can do that transformation in Snowflake. So I will give example. Okay, we have three tables A, B, and C. Here I'm getting A to B and B to C. Okay, chain condition high. Now I want to chain. Okay, A to B to C. I want to chain three tables. Okay, so now in Snowflake, what we will do? We will write entire code again. We can't use A to B and B to C code. So we write in Snowflake. So we write entire code again. But when we have these in the DBT, okay. So so now when we have three tables again A, B, C and A to B one chain condition and B to C one giant condition, and now we need to write A to B, B to C. Okay. So in DBT what we'll do? So A to B already we have code, right? Okay. So now you will give one name to like D and B2C already you have code, right? You can give E like models. Then directly in DBT. Okay. So we will change this one directly. Okay. Without to writing any code. So we give model name and we D2E will change in DBT. Okay. Jane, we use written code. Okay. So that is a difference. Okay. When we do transformation, okay, and Snowflake, and when you do transformation DBT, different. Okay, you need to write again the code in the Snowflake, but in DBT we going to use already written code. Okay, so this is the difference. Okay, and we also have what we have. So lineage graph. So we have lineage graph. Okay, and the documentation. So documentation, uh, cloud scheduler, job cloud scheduler. Okay, so cloud scheduler it going to connect with any any other tools, cloud schedulers we have in the DBT. Okay, we can move data dev to test to production. So that's why we are using DBT. Okay, so DBT is used for transforming the data inside the warehouse. So it allows writing transformations in SQL. It follows software engineering practices like version control, testing, and documentation. It builds analytics ready tables like facts and dimension tables. It manages dependencies using ref and source. It runs directly on Snowflake compute. It makes data transformation scalable and reliable. Okay, scalable and reliable. So healthcare use case transform raw patient visits into fact visits, and in healthcare data what we have. So transform raw patient visits. Okay, then fact visits and dim patients, like that we have tables. So what are the tables we have? Fact visits, then dim visit. So these are we have in the tables in the DBT. Okay, as an example, I'm telling we need to remember this what type of tables you created in LGK domain, fact visits and dig visit. Okay, this is why DBT. So then go with, so is DBT first one, right? Okay, username. So is DBT ETL or ELT2? So which one? ELT2. Okay. So data is extracted and loaded by ingestion tools. DBT performance transformation inside warehouse. So uses Snowflake compute improving scalability. DBT does not ingest data. First modern architecture. So DBT is ELT tool. Okay. So after extracting, after loading data into the warehouse, then we need to going to connect with the DBT. Then we are doing the transformations. Okay. So this one. Next one. What are the models in the DBT? Models in DBT. Here, models here. Go with like a definition. What is a model definition? Models are SQL files. Okay. And the define transformations. Define transformation. Models are SQL files. So the define transformations. Okay. So answer. Each model is a select query. Okay. So using and clean and transforming data. So organize. One second. Mhm. So what are models in DBT? So SQL files that define the transformations. Okay. So in each model we're going to use the write the select query. So it's using for the cleaning the data, transforming the data. So we're going to organize the data into the models in staging layer and intermediate layer and mass layers. Okay, so it's going to manage my dependencies, okay, using a ref keyword. And we also have the so version control and tested. We can do the test. Okay, we can build the blocks. What is the syntax for references given the model? Select star from. Okay, so ref of. Okay, so then stage. Okay, so patients, stage patients, and then okay, and this one. Okay, this is how to refer the one model. So next go with another thing. So next one is what are the types of metallization DBT? What are the types of metallization? Okay. So here we have definition. So metallization defines how model is built. Okay. So ఆ మోడల్ ఎలా బిల్డ్ అవ్వాలనేది మనం మెటలైజేషన్ లో డిఫైన్ చేస్తాం. సో హౌ ద మోడల్ గోయింగ్ టు build. So here, so we can build view. It is like a logical object, and table. So it is a physical object, and incremental. It is a like loads delta data and FML. So no object created for this improves performance and cost. Okay, so these are the metallization DBT. So when they ask about what are the types of models, there is no particular types of models. So we're going to create models in staging and environment, staging layer and intermediate layer and marks. Okay, we're going to create models in staging layer, intermediate layer and marks layer. So if they ask, okay, don't tell the types of view table incremental FML when they ask about what types of model. Okay, so I created models in different ways, like in staging, intermediate, and marked layers. Tell like that. And what types of metallization? View table incremental FML. So we know table, we know incremental. Uh, incremental data loading. FML means it won't create a viewer table. Just we will have a keep. We going to keep in one folder. Okay, it's going to be like it's going to be useful for performance and cost cutting. So to save the cost, we are using the FML model. So these are sorry FML model. These are metallization. FML metallization. Sorry, we're going to use FML metallization to save the performance and to save the cost. These are the metallization. So next one, fifth one. Okay. So what are the tests in the DBT? What are the tests in DBT? So what we have? So here definition test is a validated data quality for quality data. So validating data, we're going to use the test. Okay, quality and validate the data. We're going to use the test. So we have built-in test. So what are the built-in tests? Anybody having idea? In last three classes, we are discussing about test.
Schema we have used. Schema testing means schema.
Yeah. Tell me what are the schema? What are the tests you have?
Unique
Tell that answer. Unique, ordinal, accepted values test. These are built-in tests. Okay. So schema test we can call it or built-in test. So what are the built-in tests? What is the schema test? Unique, ordinal, accepted values. And so we have custom. So custom. Okay. So custom SQL test possible like defining the schema.yml file. Okay, we're going to define these tests schema.yml file. So we're going to run using DBT test. So if any failure, it's going to show the fail error, and then it's going to pass. It's going to show the success. So custom test means as per the requirement we need to write in the schema.yml file. So these are built-in tests and custom test also we have. So what are the test types? Singular and what are the test types? Singular and generic type. Singular means
SQL.
okay, these are singular, unique, not all accept. So generic means we're going to create. Tell
Singular test. Singular tests are different. These are unique, non
singular means like we are doing a single test. Generic means we are doing multiple tests. Okay, like that. Okay, so these are tests. Okay, how do you perform data quality checks in DBT? Using data quality perform checks, data quality checks in DBT. How you perform? How do you perform? Using built-in test. Okay, using built-in test. Then using custom SQL test and custom SQL test. Then define in YML. Where we going to define and in YML file we're going to define and how we going to run. So DBT test is the command and so failures logged and blocks bad data. Okay, it's going to show the failures log details. Okay, and blocks bad data like duplicate data. So any unnecessary data is going to flag the data. So it's going to ensure. Okay, use the terminology when you are use ensure. Okay, when you are explaining anything, use the models test, snapshots, incremental, metallization, historical data, incremental data, slowly changing dimension. You need to use the words. So terminology is a very important when you are giving the intel. Okay, so ensures clean reporting. Okay, so data quality checks in DB. So what are they using built-in test or custom SQL test, and we're going to use the YAML file. So DBT test is a command. It's going to be give failures log details. This is a word log detail and black. You're going to black the bad data. So for the ensures clean reporting. Okay, so okay, it's going to be clean
ఒకలా
reporting.
ఉంటుంది
So news
అసలు మోస్ట్ వాడకపోతే
Okay, so when you new people are attending, you're going to get a little bit confusion. Okay, don't be confusion. So when you attend the DBT classes, then it will be fine. Okay, no worries. So next one, how do you
Sure.
handle incremental data in DBT? How you handle incremental data in DBT? So what is the process? So using incremental materialization, using incremental, so materialization. Meditation we're going to handle. Okay, first what are you going to do? So runs, loads full data. Okay, so latter what it going to, latter runs load only, latter it loads only new data. So control, it going to control using the is incremental. Okay, we need to tell this number, it going to control with using is incremental. So this syntax we're going to use in that incremental materializations. Okay, so it's going to improve the performance, so for the large fact tables. Okay, it's going to improve the performance for the large fact tables. Fact tables is going to be the best performance. Okay, then again syntax. What is the syntax? What is the syntax for this one? So curly if is incremental, is incremental, open the parentheses, and again percentage and close with curly bracket. Here also we do percentage space. Okay, this is the syntax. How we going to write? So after what we going to mention where. So load date, we're going to give apply this on the load date. There is no load date, so we can't apply incremental. Then we need to add date, then we can apply. So load date, it means select max. Okay, load date. So max and load date from, okay, this means that model. Okay, model. So again what we are doing, again curly braces, again uh, percentage we are using, and if again uh, so this is the Jinja templates we are using. We see this black, right, curly braces and percentage, this is the Jinja templates we can call it. Okay, so this is how to write. Okay, if they ask about incremental, we need to tell about, so using how you handle incremental model. So using incremental materialization, so runs it going to first run the full load, it's going to run, then later it load only new records. So it's going to use the is incremental. Okay, so for the large fact tables. Okay, and the syntax, if is incremental, will load date, select a max load data from this index. They will ask you, so what should column be in table when we want to write the increment? So which column? So any date column. If there is no date column, what are you going to do? So then we need to add a date column. Okay, so that is different. Suppose if you add the date column, it's going to give same date for everything, right? So but when we receive new data, it's going to be the max date. So here, why max and load? Suppose, so to write, this is first John, second John. I have date table in that third John. Okay, in this, what is the maximum date? That is, that is, that is
Third Jan. Third Jan.
third John, right? Okay, it is a third John. So it's fine. Okay, we are receiving the data, and suppose I'm receiving data seventh John. This is already full load. We have done full load. Okay, full load. So again, new data comes on seventh John. So it's going to check. So select maximum load date from this data that model, from the model. It's going to select the maximum date. Okay, it's going to select seventh John. So where load date greater than maximum. Select maximum load date from this. Okay, so this load date should be greater than the maximum load date. Then it's going to load into the table this seventh John data. Okay, this is full data and this is new data, like that. So when the new data arrives, it's going to capture the data and going to load into the table. Going to by using date column. Okay, we need to use these words. Okay, so date column, load date, or updated date. So the requirement. Okay, so now we have one more thing. So what are the snapshots? Okay, this is seventh question, right? So what are these snapshots? What are the snapshots? Snapshots track historical changes. Historical changes. Historical changes means so you have a bank account. You are doing the transformations. Okay, sorry, you are doing the transactions. Okay, uh, from 1 year, from last 5 years you are using, or last 10 years you are using the transaction. But you need some details. Okay, you need to access the last 7 years transactions of yours. Okay, how are you going to access? How they're going to store? So we need to go to the bank. So that's why we have bank projects, right? So then we need to check with them. Then they will give the last. So how many transactions you need as per the requirement, they will give you. Okay, that is historical data. Historical data means previous data or old data. If you want to retrieve, even banks, okay, those okay things will come. Historical changes. So those are so historical changes. So how are we going to track? Using snapshots. In that, what we're going to use SCD type 2 we're going to use. So it's going to capture the old capture row changes and store. Okay, it's going to store old data and new data. So new data. So have like valid from and valid. So I will explain what is valid to and valid to. Suppose I created so ID one Madhu then someone. Okay, so this one I created. This I created on John first I create. So this is ID, money and salary. So John 8 I got okay salary hike. So it's going to update. So again ID Madhu it's going to change right. Okay, so like this. Okay, like this I got hike. So now this is on John 8. Okay. So now what we'll do this historical this snapshot it's going to hold this data. Okay, it's going to show we have valid from right. So this one valid from so John first to John 8 this is valid from. So this is going to valid it's going to show this value also. So we have valid from John first to John 8. This is valid to. So valid to John 8. It's going to hold like this. So this is like it start with from the valid. Okay. So till it valid from John new data. So John yeah John second half. So valid from Jan 8 to valid to why what is valid to Rajesh? Till date. Able check it out. So valid to till date. This one. Okay. So next go to got it right, clear right. So this going to for use for audit. When we do the audit, we're going to check this. So what are the snapshots for going to we're going to save the historical changes. Okay. So in the snapshot, we're going to use CC type to slowly change your dimensions. Peak up, slowly change the dimension. Okay. Then we're going to capture the row changes. Okay. So we're going to store old and new data. So value from with columns of value from and valid to. Okay. This is the example. So This is my salary on Jan 1st, and I have hike, and this is my salary on Jan 8th. Okay, here in first, it going to hold this old data also valid from Jan 1st to valid to Jan 8th. Okay, and one again new data. Okay, on my salary 1.5 lakh file. So it going to hold from Jan 8th to valid from Jan 8th to so validate till date. So this is how they're going to be the data reflect in the DBT with the in the Snowflake inside the Snowflake. Okay, so these are the snapshots. So these are the snapshots. Clear? So again, go with how do you handle historical data in DBT? So again, same question. How you handle? So this data going to using for the audit when you are doing the audit. Okay, tax tax audit. We're going to do different audits, right? Like that. So how do you have going to handle? How do you going to handle historical data? So in DBT, Kama Gucha Shaker. So how do you going to handle historical data in DBT again? So same snapshots for dimension, incremental for facts. Okay. So for snapshots. So for snapshots, we're going to write on what type of tables. So we're going to write snapshots on what type of tables we're going to write. So not source and target. Snapshots. So on the what type of tables? On the tables only we need to write factor dimensions. No dimension. So we're going to write these are only dimension. We can't write snapshots on the fact tables. Okay. So incremental for facts tables. For fact tables. Snapshots for dimensions. Incremental for facts tables. So SE type to for snapshot. Type 2. Is it type 2 for where you going to use? So dimension history. Okay. Dimension history and append only fact tables. Append only fact tables we going to use. Okay. So then ensures for going to current and history. This was the trend analysis. We're going to use current data and history data for trend analysis. Okay. So how you handle using snapshots for dimension, incremental for facts. Is it type 2 for append only fact? Is it type 2 for dimension history? Okay. History key choose some type for dimension history. Okay. Then append only for fact tables. Dimension for fact tables. Okay. So this is how you handle data in DB tables using snapshots and the incremental and handling the data. For the dimension table, I'm using the snapshots. For fact tables, and I'm using the incremental. So see type 2 for dimension for historical data and append only for fact tables. Okay, append only steps. Okay, these are. So next, go with one more question. Why they are lifting? Okay, who are left? So next one, third question. How do you implement AC type 2 in DBT? How you implement same thing? SCD type 2 in DBT. So how are you going to implement? So using snapshots. So same question they will ask in different. Okay, define unique key. Define unique key. We're going to give the unique key and define. This is related to SCD type 2 using snapshots. So we're going to define the one unique key. So define updated at column. Okay, then expire old record. So expire old record. Okay, and insert New record. Set new record. Okay. Then DBT going to manage the timestamps. So manage the time stamps and use for dimension tables. For dimension tables, we're going to use dimension tables. Okay. So these are okay. So how you implement a type 2 DBT using star charts we are implementing. In that syntax, we're going to put a unique key and we're going to define one updated column. So it's going to have the expire old record and insert the insert new record. So DBT manages in timestamps. Okay. These are all going to use it for the only dimension tables. Okay. So these are the 10 questions. Okay. So today we need to do practically. Okay. In Snowflake and first write in the notes. Okay. Write with the theory and practical and send it to me. So I will share the questions. Okay. So write theoretically and practically how you do complete syntax. Okay. Write in the notebook. Okay, even you can see in the Google or ChatGPT. Okay, you can write it, but write it in the notebook and send to me. That is only useful for you. Okay, so tomorrow we will connect with. Okay, I have some another interview. Okay, bye. Any doubt as of now? So is anybody having doubt? Clear, right? Am I clear? Fine, we'll connect. So hi everyone, completely. So DBT. So interview questions we want to discuss today. Okay, interview preparation. So what they're going to ask in the interview? First, like, so what is the DBT? So it is a data build tool. So we have core and cloud. Okay. So you need to say, so we are working on cloud. Okay. So it is we have EDM and reality tools, right? ETL and reality tools. So it is a reality tool. So ETL means extract, transform, load. So first we need to extract the data, then we need to transform, then we need to load. Here ELT extract, load, transform. First we need to extract from the source systems, then we need to load into the warehouse. Then after that we need to transform the data. Okay, so this one DBT is ELT2. So DBT, it means it won't. Okay. First, when the data warehouse having the data. So in the time, this DBT going to do the transformations. So correct this one. Okay. So it is completely a transformation and also it's going to do extract and load. Next one. They will ask in interview is DBT, ETL or ET2. So you need to say it is a ET2. So what are the models in that? What are the models in DBT? So here we have models means that SQL select query. So that runs inside the data warehouse. So what are the models like we are using for clean, transform and structured data for analytics and reporting. Okay. So they're going to help us like data into like staging, interpret and mark layers. Okay. So DBT manages the dependencies between models using read function. Okay. Then version control. So these are. So what are the models in the DBT means staging models, then intermediate models, then mart layers. Okay, staging layer, intermediate layer, and mart layers. So we have these ones: staging models, intermediate models, and mart models. Okay, and we have refund dependencies. Okay, refund dependencies. Then So you need to say we have stage, increment, and mod. So don't go with the V incremental external table. So that is different question. If they ask like what are the metalizations? So metalizations. So what are the metalizations? Like we have V table incremental and then FM. So these are the metalizations. So when they ask about what are the metalization, V means you know already it's a virtual table for the transformations and table like heavy transformation. Incremental, so when we are loading incremental data. FML, it won't create any objects in the Snowflake warehouse. So for the if you we going to create these models and keep in FML, we going to keep in one folder. It won't create any object in the Snowflake, but we can going to use in subqueries. So anyway, wherever need, we going to use like okay subqueries. Okay, so you need to choose proper way, then only you can going to help us like optimize performance and cost in the production environment. Okay, so you need to use the proper way or table or incremental effort. Okay, here. So then, so what are tests in dbt? So what are tests in the dbt we have? So first, why how we validate the data? Okay, how you ensure the data quality? Okay, so tests are used for validate data. So validate data and quality, valid data quality, and ensure data correctancy means so proper data, so we need to have. So usually we going to do unit test, okay, and not unit test and accepted. So these are test in the deep, okay, eating null accept. These are schema test. These are schema testers, schema level test. Okay, so if any duplicate values, any null values, any range of values, so not there, it going to throw the error. So these are the tests. Unique not null accepted. Okay, unique not null accepted values test. Right. So this one. Okay. So here we have like so these are some built-in tests, not null unique accepted, and we also have custom tests. Okay. So using SQL complex course, okay, validations for that we're going to use this DBT test, okay, command DBT test, okay. So this is these are next question: how you do perform data quality checks in DBTs? Same thing, we need to explain. Data quality checks in DBT are performed using both built-in and custom test. So built-in test validate conditions like uniqueness, null checks, and value ranges, and the custom SQL test are written for complex business rules and validations. So these are defined in the YAML file. YAML file. So we're going to link it with the DBT models. Okay. So these tests are automatically as part of DBT test or DBT build. So if any failures are logged are there, so the deployment going to block CI/CD pipeline, continuous integration and continue deployment. So those pipelines going to block. So this is version, okay. So using tests, they ask about data quality checks, data engineering, how you validate data. You need to go with test. Okay, unique, not null, accepted, values test. Okay. So then, how you handle incremental data in DB? How you handle incremental data in DB? Here, incremental data, how are we going to handle? So for this one, first, we need to define the incremental materialization. So doing the when we are running the model, it means so in Snowflake we going to handle with the streams, med statement, task, stream table. That is incremental. See this change like that. So in DBT also we have. So already I explained about materializations, right? View table incremental. So this materialization I'm going to use in the config block. then it's going to track any incremental data. So using incremental model, we're going to access the DBT. So how you need to answer in the interview. So in DBT, incremental data is handled using incremental models. So we define a model with incremental materialization. So during the first run, DBT loads the full data into the target table in subsequent runs. So only new or change records are processor. We control this using is incremental logic inside the SQL. This improves performance and reduces the warehouse cost. So incremental model are commonly used for large fact tables. Okay, like that you need to say the answer. So then snapshots. Snapshot. What is a snapshot? DBT. So snapshots are nothing but like historical changes in the records over time. Okay, historical changes in records over time. Okay, historical changes in record over time. It means to manage to handle the historical data. So what we use in the Snowflake to handle the historical data?
Yesterday type 2.
SAE type 2. Okay, that one. So the SAE type 2 we're going to implement in these snapshots. So they're going to capture the changes in source database of the unique key and DBT store old and new versions of record automatically. So snapshots are mainly used to implement slowly changing dimensions. So SAE type 2 means slowly changing dimension. So type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3 like that we have. Okay. So snapshots are mainly used to implement only slowly changing dimensions. So they record they having like valid from and valid to timestamps. Okay, so snapshots are defined separately from the model, so they help maintain audit and history of data changes. Okay, so snapshots is nothing but to maintain the to handle the historical data using history type 2. And so when we run the snapshot, it's going to create one separate schema for snapshots data, historical for history data. So we have it going to one separate schema in the Snowflake. Remember that point. Okay, so the question may be different. Okay, how do you handle historical data in DBT? What are the snapshots? So historical data in DBT is handled using snapshots and incremental models. Again, same thing. SC type 2, historical data rule. Okay, so these are for the reporting auditing for analysis we're going to use. So how do you implement SC type 2? Okay, so through snapshots, same question again. Okay, different ways. Same question they will ask, right? Different ways. Okay, so then what are the seeds in that? So what are the seeds? Seeds like seeds in the DBT. So seeds in DBT are static data files, log stores as CSVs. So when we copy CSV data and we need to put in the DBT paste, then after running command with DBT seed, it's going to create a permanent table in the Snowflake with the data to this one. So they will ask, okay, how you handle our work with CS files in the DBT? Yes, it is yes. So seed folder we have. There we need to go to, we need to create name and .csv, extension .csv. After that, we need to paste the CSV code. Then we need to run command dbt seed. It's going to create on permanent table in the Snowflake, okay, with the data. Okay, so that is dbt seed. Okay, we told right dbt is ELT. So not only for transformations, we can do extract and load. Okay, in enter they will ask tricky. They will ask like tricky. Only you are doing the transformation, not only transformation, we also extract and loading the data using DBT. So that CSV files is going to extract and load into the Snowflake data warehouse. It load, that is ELT process. Okay, or without ELT they go to like T process, transformation process. So that's why they have ELT process. So what are the hooks in DBT? So hooks in DBT. So hooks like SQL commands only. Okay, they run like automatically at any specific points in the DBT run model. So these are going to perform actions like so before or after model runs. So what is happening before running the model and after running the model? So what is happening? Okay, it's going to track that one. So these are like managing like logging, auditing, okay, setting session parameters. For that, we're going to use the DB hooks. They can be defined as a model, a project, or a global level hooks, and for improving the automation. So without changing code transformation logic. So they are commonly used for data validation and the cleanup steps. So overall hooks helps extend DBT behavior in a controlled way. So what is happening before and after? So here we have pre-hook and post-hook. Okay, we have pre-hook and post-hook. Okay. A pre-hook runs before model is built in the database, and then post-hook runs after the model successfully created. Both same. Okay. Pre-hook before and post-hook after. Okay, both to define in model only. So in the project configuration, we're going to define the hooks. Okay. So they execute automatically during the DBT run. So when we run the model, automatically they're going to run. So those are hooks in the DBT. Okay. So next, what are the Jinja templates in the DBT? Jinja templates. You know, right? Jinja templates. So Jinja. Jinja, what is Jinja? So here, we're going to handle variables, condition, loops inside the manual we're going to use. Okay, variables, condition, and loops. Okay, for loop, if loop. So these are we going to use models. Okay, so these are for avoiding like duplication code. Okay, so here we're going to use functions like ref, source, and config and jinja. Okay, these are non based. Okay, so sometimes the who like in Python we have variable size. So we going to assign the values to the variables. So like that also we can do in DBT with the Jinja templates using if else statement. Okay. So suppose there is a sunrise, right? Then temperature. Temperature. So what is the temperature in the morning, in the midday, and the evening, and end day? Like the different temperatures we have in different times, right? So as per the requirement, going to drag. If any time changes as per the conditions, one need to do specific in that time. So like that, it going to arrange ginger template. Okay. Yeah. So next, uh, so next question will be the packages. Packages in the DBT. So what are the packages in the DBT? Packages in the DBT. So what are the packages in the DBT? Anybody having idea? So packages in DBT are reusable code. So those are libraries. They're going to share across on all these projects. Like they are like built in. So just go to Chrome. There you can find DBT utilities. So inside you can find a hub. So after opening that, you can see the different files, okay, macros, test, and models. So those you can copy and you can come to the DBT, can paste there, and then into run that package. Into paste in the okay interface like package.yml. Then into paste after you run dbt deps command. So those going to run. So those going to run. It's going to install the packages in the DBT. Suppose when you are doing any test not running properly, then you're going to use this one. You want to use packages. It's not running, it's throwing error when you are working with the DBT. Then you need to go to packages. Go to packages, then copy the data, then come to here, then you can paste there, then it's going to work again. So that is like a DBT packages, not this packages. Okay, this one. Packages. Okay, so those are we have in DBT utilities. So what is a DBT project? So DBT project YML file. What is so file is that main configuration file for DBT project. Okay, so this is a main file. So we have structure, right? We have folders in the DBT project. We have folders, macros, models, example model, okay, snapshots, seeds. Right? We have different files, right? Okay, how they going to be there? So those are we defined in the DBT project YML file. So it defines project name and version and model configurations. What is the project name? What is the version of DBT and what are the model configurations? And it controls the materializations and so folder level settings. As I told, it also going to manage the seeds, snapshots, and test logs. Okay, environment specific behavior can be configured. Okay, so DBT reads the file before executing any command, and it acts like as a backbone of the entire DBT project. So project YAML file is going to have everything. So where what is what, okay? Why? So before you are running command DBT run, I can select model name. So directly it not going to the model. First you will take the project file, then it will go to the, okay. So that one. And we have schema.yml file, right? Schema.yml file. Okay, schema.yml file. What is it? This schema.yml file. So how to go to here? Is for um, content like models descriptions, column descriptions, and what are the tests. Okay, so this file going to help to us to create the to do the documentation in the structure way. Suppose you have one model. So what is that model? Where it comes from? We need to know those parents and grandparents. Okay, where will it come from? Okay, what is the database and schema? No, so those are we going to define in the schema.yml file. Okay, even we write unit test, normal test in that only we are writing in that schema.yml file only. Okay, that also related to that test also. Okay, it going to useful in the documentation. Okay, now we go into it. Oh, YAML file. Okay, how do different sources the DBT? Same. Okay, sources same. I said and where what is where the team model comes from. Parent and grandparent. Okay, where they come. So we know what is the database and schema and where it comes from. So source are we going to define again. Okay, for the freshness and track testing and models on it. Okay, and for SQL functions, but to maintain that like data consistency. So for lineage tracking. Okay, so we have lineage graph, right? So directly we don't get lineage graph. Okay, we need to define in the source. Okay, we need to define the source. So then we're going to get the lineage graph. Suppose I have a model. I don't know. So I have numbers of multiple models. I need to know where it comes from which models. Okay. I have 10 models. From the 10 models, I'm creating 7 models. From the 7 models, I'm creating fourth model. 4 models. 4 models, I'm creating three. From three to I created two to one. Then it's going to show lineage graph 10 models to one model. This comes from 10 to 7, 10, 7 to 4, 4 to 3, 2, like that. Okay, so that is lineage graph we going to show you. So that we need to define okay, database name, schema name, table name. Okay, like that is how we define the process. Okay, then how you define source in DBT coming on macros. So macros are nothing but a reusable code. Suppose so in mathematical we have like average be more square like a square b square plus 2ab like that formulas. So these are macros we're going to use like formulas. So I create macros, I keep in one macros folder. Those those when I need, I'm going to use those macros in the models. So not we can't run macros directly. Just we can define it. Okay, we can check the preview, and after that we need to stored in that one macro folder. After that, so after the requirement, business logic. So where we need it, so we can use those macros. Use macros in the models. Okay. So next, so source in the DB. Yes, simply. Okay. A source in the DBT is going to represent the raw data table loaded from an external system. Okay. So raw or running layer in the warehouse sources are not created by DBT. Okay, not going to be created by in the DBT sources. They are referenced by DBT. They help to define the boundary between ingestion and transformation. Okay, so DBT uses sources to build lineage and freshness checks. They are referenced using source function model. So the usual clarity and okay, reliability and ELT pipelines. Okay, so these are sources in the DBT. Okay, and so remaining we have 20 questions. So we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, we'll discuss tomorrow. So up to here, I don't have any doubt to anybody.
Schema.yml website.
So I have 4 o'clock interview. That's why skipping. We will discuss tomorrow. So telling you doubt, Shaker.
Schema.yml.
Schema.yml files for writing the. You are doing a test. You are defining source, right? So where you will write that code in the file of you are going to create schema.yml file. So in that file, you're going to define the test, the source system, and everything. Okay. Project YAML file. So you have folder structure, right? Folders, you have your project name, okay, and folders, macros, okay, models inside the example model, okay. When you create, when you run the model, you're going to create a view, right? So those are very good to define. So those are you need to define the hooks, the materializations, everything we can define in the project YML file. Okay. So, okay. Any doubt to anyone? Okay. Then YouTube will no worries. Okay. So you will get it again in future. Okay. Just only this interview process, not entire class. Okay. No, Koteshwara and the Domshi Venkatesh. Don't worry if you don't get it. So this is only for the interview preparation purpose. So they already knows DBT. So they'll get it. Okay. You will also get it. Okay. So then you will get one idea. So attend to when you have any interview class, try to attend. Sandeep, clear? Okay, package is clear, right?
All
And
right. All right.
package is running DBT depths command. Okay, I will teach commands also, DBT depths command. Okay, they asked about model. If you want to run the dependency ref, okay, you need to put plus after downstream model name, then plus. For before that, you need to put a plus, hyphen, select a plus, then model name. So that we need to tell in that. Okay, Chiranjeev, you use the table depths is not. Okay, so in that scenario, you need to wait for my capture. Even 1 minute, or you need to do some of model react. Okay, fine. If any doubt, you can ping me or you can ask here. Okay, so bye. So tomorrow we will continue remaining 20 questions are there, and after that we will going to do with comments. Okay, try to so DBT interpretation part 2. Okay, so in DBT, how you schedule jobs. So anybody having idea how you schedule jobs? Renu,
No, bro.
Shekhar, Kavya, Shamant, how you schedule jobs in DBT. So here we have DBT Cloud. So in DBT Cloud, so we need to go in. the deployment. So there we can schedule the jobs. So we're going to receive email notification. Okay, directly we can run DBT test, DBT snapshots using DBT Cloud Jobs. Okay, we can put intervals for 12 hours daily or Monday to Friday or weekdays or weekends. Okay, we can schedule the jobs in DBT Cloud. But so in many companies, we are also using external attestation. What is that? External attestation tools are using. Okay,
Airflow.
come. So external attestation tools are used. Okay, so we can use not only DBT Cloud for scheduling Airflow, so Control M, Chrome. So they are using the companies. So they're going to trigger. Okay, when we give the commands. Okay, DBT dev test and pro environments. Okay, so we can schedule jobs in the jobs. Then it's going to run those models and it's going to execute in this dev to test to pro. Okay. So okay, this is one. So we need to monitor using alerts and logs. If anything is failed, okay, when we running, so we need to go with okay. So alerts and logs, checking logs and alerts. So we need to fix it up. Okay. Then how do you deploy DBT code? So deploy DBT code. Here also same thing. Okay. So code deployment is in using Git based workflows. This workflows. So we need to give the setup connection with the GitHub. Okay. So there we have different environments like developer, dev and test and product. So we need to create the branches. Okay, and push the data using GitHub or GitLab. After code review, so the changes what you have done, it's going to merge into the branches like CI/CD pipelines. Okay? So DBT run, DBT test, higher environments. So development fails, they would to test to prod runs. So DBT cloud jobs are orchestration tools handle scheduled runs. Okay. For the to ensure the control version and reliability deployments. Okay. So we need to set up the environments, the development, testing, and production in the DBT cloud. So then we need to run the jobs. The data going to move to dev to test to prod like that. So we need to create database schemas in the Snowflake. Then after work is completed, when we have fact and dimension tables, then after that we need to move the data using a GitHub. Okay. Next, when you run DBT model, so what gets created in Snowflake? So when we run a DBT model, what it's going to create in the Snowflake? What it's going to create in the Snowflake? It's going to create a view or table. Okay, with the what is the metallization we give in that syntax. Okay, so what table is like transient table, not permanent table. Okay, then we have a view table metallization incremental. So view table incremental for incremental process FML, it won't create anything. Just where we need, we can use in the subqueries. When we run the DBT model, it's going to create as VWAR table. Okay, so we need to mention in the metallization VWAR table. Suppose if you mention table, it's going to create as table, but it's a transient table, not permanent table. Fine. Okay. Go with next question. How do you debug DBT failures? Any idea? Okay. Question is how you debug DBT failures. How you debug? Anybody having idea? Shaman, Kavya, Renu, Rajesh, Shekhar. సో ఏదైనా మాట్లాడండి సైలెంట్ గా ఉంటే అట్లా
DBT
చెప్పు
debug unit.
నేను చెప్పుకుంటూ వెళ్తే మీరు మాట్లాడకపోతే ఏమీ రాదు ఏమి యూజ్ లేదు యూ నీడ్ టు స్పీక్ సంథింగ్ వెన్ ఐమ్ టాకింగ్ దెన్ యూ విల్ గెట్ సంథింగ్ డోంట్ యూ స్పీక్ ఎనీథింగ్ హౌ కెన్ యూ గెట్ if it should be like a discussion then you will get one idea simply I can go with the teacher.
No, bro. We don't have ideas.
Anybody? Okay, fine. So dvd so when we run the model so we have going to this is some failures, right? So dbt run it runs the all models. So now what we need to do first, we need to check the error. Okay, what we need to check? Error logs. Logs we need to log message in the error log. Okay, we have the log message in error message in the logs. So they're going to show logs, right? So in that we have what? Error message. So we need to check the that error message in the logs. Okay. So after that we need to write some which model is going to fail. So dbt run will run the all models, right? Then after that I will use we need to use dbt run hyphen select. So which model failed, that model name individually we need to run. After that again we need to check. So after checking the data, so any rows are missing or any test case are missing, we need to do the test again. Then source to target. Okay, source to target any source by schema data by finding missing. We need to check everything. It is first we need to check the SQL code. Is SQL code is fine or not? Then after we need to go with the source to target and the lineage graph, everything. We need to check. If SQL code is the mistake, then we need to set the SQL code properly. So if it not is SQL code, then we need to go with source test and source target lineage graph everything. Okay. So this is way of debugging. Okay, debug. How you debug it? This is the important question. Okay, this one. Next, how you connect DBT to Snowflake? How you connect? Will be the process if anybody knows how you connect to DBT to Snowflake.
Building
First,
connection.
we need a Snowflake account, need warehouse, start database, craft schema, okay, warehouse, database, one schema. We need these details. Then after accounts, username, account, identifier we need. Account identifier we need. Okay, username, account identifier we need. Okay. Need setup. Then after we need to create the DBT account. So there we need to provide warehouse database schema, username and account identifier and that username and here also we provide password. So after that we need to test the connection. So if connection is okay, it will show successful. Then we need to click on next. Then after that we need to give that GitHub link. Okay, you need to click the GitHub link. Okay. So then after it going to be shown. You need to click on the development environment. Okay. So this is how to connect Snowflake with DBT. This is the process. Okay. Then can we perform transformation in DBT by DBT? So why DBT? Yes, we can perform transformations in the DBT. Okay. But why DBT means we have documentation and lineage outbox. Okay, it going to integrate with the Snowflake for scalable transformation. So and we also have the CI/CD. CI/CD means continuous integration and continuous deployment. Okay, CI/CD transformations. So DBT prefers only modern data transformation pipelines. Okay, so remember this point. Documentation lineage. Okay, it integrates with the Snowflake for scalability transformations and CACD transformations. Okay, modern data transformation pipelines. Okay. So this is why we are using the DBT for this one. Okay, that's why. So we can do transformation within the Snowflake, but here we can do more advanced lineage. We have documentation. We have okay, like that. Okay. So what is the lineage graph in the Snow DBT? Lineage graph. What is lineage graph in the DBT? So it will show source to target. So I have three models and I have one model. So the single model where it comes from joining set A model, B model, C model. Now I have D model where it comes from. So joining through A, J, B, then D. So to see the linear graph, first we going to see A, B, C. Okay, we're going to see here A, B, B, C. Then we are joining. Suppose we want to D model, right? Then after that it will show uh, here. So A is in B. Then after that it will show the D model like this, a lineage graph. Okay. So source to target we can see complete data. So if any model is there, so what is the this database schema where it comes from? So where it taken reference like that we can see. So already explained right. Run DBT model. So DBT run will run the all the models. DBT run. Then DBT run hyphen select. You can give model name. Okay. Not only model name. Okay. You can give model name one. Okay. Then model name two. Okay. Then again, if you want to run dependencies, you need to use the plus symbol. Model name plus. It won't run the this model dependencies. Okay. So using ref, we can reference the any other model. Okay. There are same again for test also. DBT test. DBT test. I can select test name like that. What are the input test we have in the DBT? So unique not null accepted values test. Okay. So what is the seed? What is seed? Seed going to okay, static data into CSV files into the permanent tables in the Snowflake. It's going to create when we run the DBTC. Okay. So what is DBT snapshot? What is the DBT snapshot? So it's going to access the historical data. It's going to maintain the historical data. So I have 10 years back data. It DBT snapshot is going to handle those data. Okay. I need last 3 years of my bank transaction. Okay. So those data we need to store the snapshots. We're going to handle the historical data. Okay. So the syntax we need to know. Okay, that snapshot syntax. They will ask what is the syntax. Yeah, how are we going to do? Here we going to implement SCD type 2. Slowly change it. Dimension 2. SCD type 2 we going to implement here. This is deep for the DBT snapshots. So historical data. So 3 years ago, how can we can handle using snapshots? Here we going to implement. Slowly change it. Dimensions. Okay. This then again go to another class. Okay, how do you generate What is before that we go with what is the difference between DBT run and DBT run and DBT build.
Sorry.
So DBT run and DBT build, what is the difference? What is the difference? Anybody have idea? So DBT run, it will run the all models. DBT build, it will run the okay. What it will going to run? Models, test, snapshots. So everything is going to run. So models, test, snapshots, seeds together. Going to run. Models, test, snapshots, then seeds. It's going to run the all. Okay. So how do you generate tasks? How do you generate tasks in the DBT? So DBT documentation, the documentation is generated using the DBT docs generate command. So this is the command DBT docs generate. So it's going to generate the docs. What is the documentation? So we're going to do some work, right? Creative models, testing. So that we need to give the documentation. We need to make the documentation. We need to make the documentation. So for that we have one command DBT docs generate. Okay, what we have done, it's going to give in the format of documentation. So this is how you generate documentation. Okay. So it's going to be like HTML document, HTML documentation. Okay, with model details and lineage after generation. So DBT docs are to view it locally. Okay, so we also have command DBT docs server. Okay, and documentation includes columns, test, dependence. So then we can understand the data in team numbers. Okay. So this one, the DBT solve, DBT generate. Yeah, these are commands. Okay, their team member can understand everything. Okay, then do you know about tags in DBT? What are the tags? So these are labels. So assigned to models, test, and snapshot. So using for the logical group related to DBT objects. Okay. So tags going to help like run specific set of models. So using DBT run, I can select tag. So they are useful for environment based or domain based execution. Okay. So tags simplify scheduling and orchestration. So they improve manageability in the large DBT projects. So tags are commonly used in CI/CD pipelines. It means so in folder one I have one model, folder two I have one more model, folder three I have one more. I want to run only these three models. For that we need to create the tag. So then we need to run the tag. So it's going to run those models. Okay. So in the CI/CD pipelines we have so many folders, many data, right? Okay, many models. So when we go in CI/CD pipeline, so specific we need to mention in the tag. So only specific models need to run. Okay, so just like the labels assigned to the models and test and snapshots. So three we can run. Okay, so then fine. How do you reference a model in DBT? How do you reference model in DBT? How do you reference model in the DBT?
By using a ref function, we can reference model in DBT.
Yeah, by using ref function. Ref function. Suppose I'm using one model. and I want to different. So one model. So model one, model two. So I have customer table. Sorry, I'll explain. Customer table. Okay. So now I am finding the total this customer pays. Each customer pays we need to find what is the payment we need to find sum of payments we need to find. So we go right now you are using the okay select like that, right? So go write sum of okay amount from table. So here what are you going to do from table name modify you need to reference. This is customer table. You're going to write one more model. So this is customer model. One customer model. Then you need to create the for this one stage customer. This is stage customer. So here you're going to use okay. So ref of okay. So customer. If of customer like that you need to reference. Okay, you can see the values. Okay, so if of customers you're going to mention, then it's going to take the reference of this model and it's going to run the sum of the amount. Okay, this is how we do ref keyword. Then so what is config block. So this one config, what is it? So it is using for the defined model level configuration like materialization, okay, and schema and incremental logic and cluster keys. Okay, so you go into materialization and then schema, then incremental logic, incremental logic, then cluster keys, clustering keys, then tags. You define the tags, then alias and post hooks, then it helps like customize how a specific model in DBT. So even we can mention DBT project dot YAML file. Project dot YAML file that also we can mention. So it's going to make so model behavior flexible and environment aware. Okay. So this is the config block. How we going? What we can mention materialization schema, security logic, clustering keys. Okay. Tags, alias, post hooks. We can mention these things. Even this we can mention in the DBT project YAML file. Okay. Then what are the layers in the DBT? Okay. So we have three layers. Layers in the DBT. So one is staging, intermediate,
Mark layer.
mark. So in staging we have clean data without a duplicator, clean data. A clean data we have here. Okay. Clean and standard data for the raw source data. So in here we have chains. We need to change those data. Apply the chain conditions, joins, and the business rules. Business rules. Okay. Here. Okay. So then we need to apply the business rules and everything what they are given. See my YouTube videos. They're recently uploaded. There you can find everything about how we go, how client will give the data and what we go. You can see my YouTube channel there. So next mart layer. What we have in mart? fact dimension tables. So this is the final data, right? So we're going to use for the reporting. So this is ready data. This is ready data. So we're going to for use for the reporting. Dimensions tables. These are fact tables. Fact means having only numeric dimension having the description. Okay. So these are the questions. Okay. Now I will give those questions and write down in the notebook and take photos and send in the group answers. You need to write down in the notebook, not in the notepad. You can see from ChatGPT, Google, or anywhere, or you can write what you understand from my class. Okay. Anyway, you need to write and you need to send end of the day. Okay. And then next class time. Next we will correct on Monday. Okay. So still we need to discuss on the D. But by end of the day today you need to submit the test. I will share the questions. Okay. When any doubt as of now, clear any
No.
doubt? So submit the test. This is very important. If you know everything in the Snowflake, so DBT they will catch you at DBT. So we need to know everything. Okay. So fine now. Okay, I will share the questions, then write the test and submit. Okay. Bye. I will. So last time we discussed about 40 questions. Okay. Those I will keep in YouTube also. So today go with some practical. Okay. How they will ask about how we do, what is it like that practical is there. Okay. So for that we will go here. Okay. So how to execution in the DBT and what are the dependents and what are the operation. Okay. These are completely DBT technical interview questions. Technical interview questions. So I will going to this how they're going to ask what are the topics and this one. So what Jane Kodastone Chandra Shamat. Okay, these are technical interview questions. So first one, how to run model. How to run model. So in different ways. Okay, what are the ways? So DBT run. So it will run all models entire DBT project. So it's going to run all models at a DBT project, DBT run. Okay, next. So DBT run it will run the all models, and then we go with next one. DBT run hyphen select. So model name. Okay. So it's going to run only specific model. It will run one specific model. Okay. What is that model? We declare there. Okay. Then second guys. సో చెప్పొచ్చుగా రేణు రాజేష్ ఇట్స్ 9 AM అని. Okay. Fine. DBT run select model name, okay, hyphen, like it runs specific model. Okay, so I want to run separate like three models. DBT run, then like select, so model name, then comma model name 2, okay, then model name 3. Okay, this one is going to run, it runs what are the models we mentioned. So what are the models we mentioned in the names? So it's going to run those models also. This one. Suppose DBT run, I will use like select folder. Folder. So going to run what are the models? So what are the models in that folder? It won't run after the what are the models in that model. Okay, this is the DBT run. Okay. So next, how to run test? Test also same like this only. Okay, test also DBT test. Okay, unique test, not null test. So acceptor values test we have, right? So it's going to run like this only, same way. Same way it's going to run. Okay, so how you going to refer the model? Okay, how you refer the model? Okay, so this is syntax. Okay, select. Okay, so from source to target you going to report. Okay, source for the raw tables here. First I will explain. Here ref we have. So this one we going to use for the models, to refer models. Then we have source. Okay? Source this for raw tables. For the raw tables, we're going to use the source. Okay? Then select store from. Okay? Here I'm using curly braces. While giving okay, leave it. So it won't be static. Then open stage. Okay, I'm giving customer tables. So stage customers. Then I'm using again ending with single quotation. Then again close the bracket. Then curly braces. So this is how to okay, how to give reference. Before this one, after curly braces we can write ref. Is this one. So this is how to ref the, how to reference the model. Suppose you want to reference model, or how to want, you want to select data from the model. So select star from, so ref of stage customers. Okay, so this is the way. So what it going to tell? So this is going to tell about like build stage customer before model. Okay, so before the model, it going to build the stage customers. Okay, stage customer, what is it going to build? It's like a build stage customers before the model. It means like first it going to build the stage customers, after it going to build the model. So it going to, why it going to build stage customer before? So to track lineage graph. So to track, so lineage graph in the model automatically. So we need to use the before. So before that, we need to mention in the source table. Okay, this one. So it's going to handle schema and database and changes, if any changes in that date. Okay, and it's going to handle DBT, going to create like directed, okay, a click graph. Okay, click graph. Okay, we can call it like, what is a click graph? What we can call it still? What is directed a click graph? So we can call DAG. DAG for this one. Okay, DAG. Intel is going to create one directed a click graph. Okay, so when we refer, when we use source and schema. Okay, so DBT models are connecting using one is the keyword reference source for the raw tables. So this is the way. Then next one, how to decide execution order? So how you decide execution order in the execution order? Okay, so first DBT does not run models randomly. Remember, so not run the models randomly. How it going to run models? Some explain. Okay, so first execution order is first like it go with ref. Okay, it to check with references, okay, reference models. Then after this depends. So what that model? So it depends on what, on which model it going to check on this one. Okay, first reference, then source. It go with first reference, then it will go with. Last time they asked in interview. Okay, so the when you run the DBT build, what is the first what it going to execute, then next what. Okay, so remember first it going to check with. This is for the execution order. Okay, so right. So reference dependence, then it will go with the I will write it in order. Then you know, so it will go with ref dependence, then source. Okay, and again this also have some dependence, right? Then again it go with uh, that's it. Okay, suppose you are running a raw customer table, then it will go to stage. First it go to raw customers, and then again stage customers. So in raw table, so in this table we have raw data. Okay, so raw data we have. Then it go with stage customers. Okay, then from this one it goes to int customer. The int customer orders model. Suppose we have this model. Then it will go to dimension table. So dim customer. So this is the execution order. Directly, it's not going to fetch data from the team customer. So first it's going to run the raw customer. From the it's going to check what it is, because why? Because of, so we're going to receive incremental data, right, in the Snowflake. So first that need to check that table. Then after checking the data, if any new data inserted, it need to check, right. So first it will go with that one raw customer. Then it go into stage customer. So stage customer, then it goes to into customer orders model, then it goes to so dim customer. So this is how like go with order of execution. Okay, order of execution, references, dependencies, source, dependencies, like that going to. Okay, so how models are executed? DBT run. Okay, so this is a normal command, you know. Okay, so first how it going to run DBT run? When you run the DBT run, what will happen? What do when you run the DBT model, what it will do? So first it compiles the SQL. Okay, so using what? Ginger, using the Ginger templates. Going to compile the SQL using Ginger templates. Then it going to resolve the ref. So ref. So when you know what is happening behind the process, then whenever you receive the error, easily you can find out and easily you can clear. Okay, you no need to work like 4 hours work. Okay, 4 hours work you can do within the 40 minutes. 4 hours work you can do in the 40 minutes when you know about what is happening the behind. So when you receive the error, so copying of the error, go to Google, go to the Chrome, and go to ChatGPT, someone. So it won't useful. Again, you will get some more error, one more error. Okay, you need to, it will take a lot of time, right? So if you know what is happening the behind the process, then easily you can rectify it and you can clear it. Okay, so that's why you can reduce the time. No need to take 4 hours. You can complete the work in the 40 minutes like that. Okay, so first it compile a SQL using Ginger, then Riff, and use source. Okay, then run models. Okay, in dependency order. Okay, first it's going to create tables or weave. Okay, run. First it's going to run the models. It's not going to run no test, no snapshots. First need to run the models, then after it go with other things. Okay, so running specific models like I already explained. Okay, Then go with the multiple models also explain and folder. So how to run dependence. Okay. So run model. Okay. How going to run the dependence. Okay. You need to use like DBT run. So when I can select. Okay. Suppose I have fact sales table. It going to we need to get plus. Then it going to run fact sales table with dependencies. Okay, so dependencies. So here, what is the dependencies? So I'm creating one model, and I'm creating model one. I'm creating model two. Then I'm creating model three to combine. So both model one plus model two. So here model three dependencies are model one and model two. So when you want to run this model three, you can run simply without place. Also want to run, suppose, so you are having model one and model two, okay? So fine, and you created model three. So after some time, you're going to receive some data, right? In model one, okay? In model one. So if you run model three, it won't be execute, okay? It will throw the error. No, it will execute, but it not show proper data. Okay, we need to run. So sometimes it will throw error, it not throws error. So what you need to do? So you need to use the plus here. First, it will run the model one, model two. Then it goes with model three. Okay, like that one. Those are dependencies. Okay, so then move to. Suppose you want to run these are model. So next, sorry. So again, DBT test, right? DBT test going to run the all test. Okay, all test it going to run. Okay, so what it going to run DBT test? First, it going to run schema test. Okay, you need to tell what are the test in the DBT means. Not null, unique accept values. Unique, not null, accept values. First, how you going to tell? So what are the runs and we need to use the different word like schema test. Schema test. Okay, if you use this word, okay, you have worked in real time. Okay, you have some knowledge. Okay, you have run DBT, then they will get one idea. Use DBT schema test I have done in the DBT. So those are not unique accepted values test. Okay, schema test I have done in the DBT. Unique not only accepted values test. Okay, then schema test are unique and not null. Then accepted values test I have. Accepted values test. Okay, then we have custom. Okay, so custom SQL test. What is a custom SQL test? And we have source freshness test. So each test is going to run only SQL query. Okay, so if query returns rows, test fails. It means it will finish throw the error. Okay, it will finish error is there. It will throw the error. Test failed. It going to reflect if you have any error. So custom SQL test is nothing but we're going to run create some SQL statement. Okay, we need some in one folder. Then after that, those are names we're going to use in the YML file. Those are the custom SQL. That is, these are we have already. So we need to write this course. Okay, then source freshness test. So it is like so whenever we data is fresh or old data for that we going to use. Okay? So when we see the in DBT class, then you will get one idea source freshness test. Okay, so then so DBT build, okay, DBT build, okay, these are DBT test, DBT run or development environment we're going to use. But in production one, what commands we're going to use? So we're going to use DBT build. So we use in production environment. Using production environment. Okay, in the production environment you're going to use. So what is the order? So it's going to run everything in the order. First it's going to run the models. order of execution. First model, okay, then it will go with test, you go with snapshots. So what are the snapshots? What are the snapshots?
By using that, we can track historical changes in our table.
Yeah. So what logic going to use inside it?
SED type 2.
Okay, is it that good? So this is snapshot, historical data. Okay, so of the snapshot, it going to execute. First, it going to execute models test. So snapshot, then seeds. Seeds are CSV files. Okay, then this is going to use in the like production pipelines, and then it's going to use in the CI/CD. Okay, countries integration, country deployment. Okay. Then it's going to use in the dev. So dev, in the dev it's going to be DBT run, and in prod we need a okay DBT build. So with my classes you can learn not only develop admin, architect, data analyst, everything, entire Snowflake you can work, entire DBT you can work. Okay, so I'm not covering single one role, I'm covering everything. Okay, that's why go with everything. In future, it will help to you if you become team lead or manager. Okay, you need to know everything. No need to change the technology if you know about completely second DBT. Okay, even no need to learn new technology. You can stick with Snowflake and DBT if you know everything about it. Okay, so these are DBT. Okay, so now DBT tips. First, I will give. So I'm doing one test. So the test having 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, these digits. So I'm going to do accept values test. Okay. So these values I will mention in that. Okay. 1 comma 2 comma. So when I run the test, it's going to pass. Okay. It's going to show success. Okay. So but now I have so this one 10 and again 11 11. Okay. 21 like 21 like 31 up to 100 I have. So 1 comma we need to mention 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma like that. So now I run the same test, it going to show the fail. Okay, so when we run the with the 10 it will fine, but when we run the 100 input of values it's not going to run. So what we need to do, okay, because of lack of dependency, lack of packages, means we don't have the so packages. So what we do, we need to go to DBT utilities. So there you can see hub.getdbt.com, hub.getdbt.com. So DBT utilities, click on this link, then you can see installation. Okay, this package you need to copy into in first you need to create a package.yml YAML file. So package.yml. So there in that you need to paste this one. After that you need to run the dbt deps command to install the packages. So what are the packages? Okay, so these are the key. Everything you will get from the entire dbt hub. Okay, here suppose 1 to 10 not run, right? Okay, see I'm clicking this one. When I run 1 to 100 it's not going to run. Okay, you can see. Check this code. Okay, so the table references not there, not inside this one. So it's not going to run. Okay. So we need to search. Okay, we're going to find where it is like. So 100 is it 100? Okay, sequential values. So can you find it? Okay, so one file, okay, you will like this is like this, okay. So like this we have, okay, so code here. For this one, we need to write this code. Okay, so models here my model name on columns on which column name user ID test dbt utilities dot accept range arguments. So minimum value 0. So I'm giving minimum value 1 and this first. And here I will delete this one. I go with maximum value. Okay, 100. Now we need to we write this code. Okay, so then see. So for this one, we are doing this one. Okay, we are pasting it one. We are running. Now when we install the packages, then that going to run that model. So what we have 100 to 10. So 100 to 100, 1 to 100. So it's going to run. So we need to install the packages. Okay. So command is we need to go with dbt devs command. Okay. So this is interview process, right? Okay. When we go with the training, so you will get a clear idea. Okay. When we go with the classes, so you will get one clear idea. Okay. Now it is. If not, trust not, just remember to install the package. We going with the dbt devs. So with the package.yml, okay, it's going to install the macros test. So I'm going to store in the dbt packages folder. So dbt utilities going to like audit helper expectations. So new package added in, okay, repo clone like that. So what is the next dbt seed command like? Okay, so CSV files we have in the seed folder. So load into the tables into the Snowflake. Okay, this is the permanent table. CSV files in Snowflake table. It is permanent table, not transcendent data. So when we give the materialization, when we create the model, what it's going to create? Table, right? In the config log materialization equal to table, it's going to create the table. But if you run, check in the Snowflake, what type of table it's going to create? It's going to create transient table, not permanent or temporary. It creates transient table in the Snowflake. Okay, when you use this one. Okay, so remember this one clear. So next, okay, uh, so this is about DBT CSV. Okay, so next we go with snapshot to again. So very common DBT test. Okay, same again. Don't come with the test. Okay, when I'm using, I explain about right this test. So further, simply change to the test. Again, it's going to run all test. Again, it's going to run specific. So this was some test. Okay, folder name inside that folder. Okay, those are like depends. DBT test. Okay, DBT. So this one next to where we are snapshots. So the Snowflake also we can handle data history historical tracking, like we can handle historical data, but in dbt also we have dbt snapshot, dbt so snapshot. Okay, this going to run the so snapshot. Okay, so what happens when you run the dbt snapshots? Directly changes. What are the change rows it going to check. Okay, and it replaces the old records. So like I'm Madhu, okay, and some, okay, this one. So yesterday I have this value. So today it's changed to one Madhu. Okay, change it to like this is going to change it. Okay, this is the change in value. So what it going to do? So closes the old record. It's going to close this old record. Okay. So insert new version. It's going to insert this new one. Okay. So it's going to maintain the data. Okay. So closes and inserts new records. Inserts new records. So we're going to use what here completely. So maintains the history using SCD type 2. Don't neglect on these SCD types. This is when you are working on Snowflake developer must need to know about SCD types. All type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3. You know, you need to know all. So practically, you can tell is it type 2 and type 1. Okay, this one. Okay, so one more thing, clear point. Okay, when I said running DBT build, what going to run first? It going to run. So wait a second. This. DBT build. Okay, we said some pattern, right? First it will run this one, this one, this one. Where it is, where it is, where it is, where it is. This is somewhere else. So I told one order, right? Okay, how it going to run the when we run the DBT one. So when we run the DBT build, first it's going to run the snapshots. Okay, so before running the models already, alright, before run the models in DBT build, when we use the DBT build command, okay, first it going to the snapshots. Then why you need to check the new data, right? That's why run the snapshots. Then models, then test like that. It's going to run. Okay, remember, first you go to the snapshots. Okay? They will accept. Okay, they will looking for this word. When you run the DBT build, what is going to run? Snapshots. They are looking what you are saying. Snapshots are first. They will think about it. Don't say simply it's going to run all. Okay, explain. When you run the DBT build, first it's going to run a snapshot. Then models like that. You need to explain them there. Okay, clear. So tomorrow we will explain some more concept. Okay, within 5 minutes. As of now, anybody having doubt regarding this session?
Yes, bro.
Yeah, tell me, Shekhar.
Source refreshness, can you explain one more time, like in test DB? Source
Source is
refreshness.
nothing but when you receiving the new data into the table, target table. So this source refresh is going to check. Okay, so this data in the model is the table is old data or new data. So that is we need to check the freshness check. Okay, that we will implement in the when we have classes, DBT classes. So in that time I will show you. Okay, it's going to check the new data. New data means it is the fresh data. Or in the table we have old data or fresh data. It's going to check those. Clear, Shekhar?
Okay, bro.
What?
Okay, bro.
Okay. So yes, still anybody? So complete those tests. Okay. I given right 40. Okay. So who are ready for mock interview? Let me know. Mock interview. Let me know who are ready for mock interview. Let me know. I will take the mock interview. Okay. Go with my YouTube channel also. Okay. So this is fourth one, fourth video regarding DBT interview preparation. So we will start. Okay. So in first class we completed 20 practical. In second class we completed 20 questions practical. In third one, so we completed 10 questions or around 9 to 9. Think so. So those are completed like practical with the syntax. I mean commands. So now today we're going to see about. Okay. So they will ask how they will going to ask the question. So they will ask like, or have you done documentation in DBT? So, so what need to say yes, done documentation. So what is documentation first? What is documentation? Suppose you are working, okay, and you are creating the tables and you are inserting the data, okay, and you are deleting the duplicate values and you are finding the total sales, total profit, or total loss. So total customer sales, yes, total. What is the total sales? Or what is the sales summary? What is the product total count of product count? You're going to find different things and you're going to write a different queries, right? and tables and data. So those details, tables and structure, everything you need to put in documentation. Okay, you need to put right in one documentation. So that is how to document it. Means like every details like creating database schemas, tables, definition, queries, everything you have in one document. So that is we can call it like documentation. Okay. In DBT, how you going to run documentation? The command is create documentation. In DBT, the command is like, so the command is like, so DBT, okay, so docs generate. This command going to create the documentation. Going to generate the documentation. Okay. So then how to see these document? Okay, how to view documents? So you have one more command dbt docs serve. So this command going to work like to see the documentation. Okay, to use the documentation. So next in the documentation, so what are the okay, documentation? What are the content you can see? So what are the content you can see in documentation? What are the content you can see in documentation? Anybody having idea? So just now I explained, right? We have tables and everything. Okay. So what about like first you're going to see like models description, then column description. 1 second, guys. One student is coming to here. 1 minute. Give me 1 minute time. Krishna, where are you? Where are you? So sorry. So model description we're going to have in the that one. Okay. So who are Jane actually Kotra Shaker Vamshi. Shaker, what about those Rajesh and Reno?
Yeah, coming, bro.
You are not coming, Shaker?
I'm also coming. There's a bit of late in the
Okay, fine. Okay, so Krishna, you can come inside. Okay. So column description we're going to have. Okay, so column descriptions. It means so like data types. Okay, and then their constraints and test when you and lineage graph. So lineage graph is going to. So lineage graph you're going to have everything end to end and dependencies. What are the dependencies are there? So dependencies you're going to have. Okay. So these are all we going to create in the documentation. Okay. So lineage graph, column descriptions, model descriptions, test. Okay. So these things you're going to have. Then we're going to use this data. So like enlist. Okay. Then now managers, then auditors. So these people going to use these data. Okay. So now we have that dev test prod, right? So this is about documentation. Remember, like dbt doc generate a dbt doc serve. It will going to generate the documentation complete details, and it going to view the documentation, and we have inside model description, column description, test, lineage graph, dependings, and it going to use by the analyst, manager, auditors. Okay, so have you worked with documentations? Yes, you need to say yes. Okay, then how you move data. Okay, dev to test to pro. Okay, usually how you going to move data. So in Snowflake, first we have dev, test, and one more prod environments. Okay, so there you're going to have dev db, test db, prod db. Okay, you're going to have. So then come to dbt. In dbt we need to create the one production environment. There you need to mention, okay, dev, then after test, then after prod,
Madhu, I have
production,
a question.
then yeah,
Hello.
yeah.
Usually in real time, for dev they have a different environment and tester have a different environment, right?
Yeah,
So how about in Snowflake? Is there any different environment or same environment we will work on that?
same thing. We going to have different databases like dev db, test db, prod db, like that we're going to have.
In Snowflake itself, we have a dev DB and test DB.
Yeah, suppose you going to create database in Snowflake, right? So first you're going to create database or dev db. Okay, so this is like a dev environment. Create a database like dev test. So this is the test environment, like that we consider in the Snowflake.
So there is a schema difference, that's it, right?
Yeah. Database difference, not so we are working in Snowflake that environment. So you are going to work with testing and production, everything that environment only. So in DBT we have different, but in Snowflake like that, just we give the name, okay, dev DB, then here DB dev, sorry, test DB, like that we going to give in the Snowflake. But in DBT we have different, we need to create, okay, that like option clear.
Okay, I got it.
So usually we have those in the Snowflake dev test cloud, those database we need to mention in the dbt, and we need to connect with the GitHub or GitLab. So then, so in Snowflake already we have zero copy cloning, right? So why you want to copy directly data into dev to test to production? Because of you don't have permissions, and if you copy, suppose when I'm receiving new data, it's not going to update test and production, because of copy cloning is like after cloning both are independent, right? It won't update if we insert any data, new data into the base table, it won't clone table, right? That's why we don't move data using zero copy cloning. Okay, remember this point, they will ask in the interview. Okay, so this is first you're going to create environments, dev, test, and production environments. So after that we're going to connect the dbt like sorry, GitHub and GitLab. So just create one account with your mail ID and try to do it practice this one. So after moving data, they will do test production, then it will goes to the BI tools, Power BI, those things. Okay, so this is you need to create their like deployment option in the DBT. There you need to go to, then create the environment, then give the connection setup. Again, you need to provide the username and password of Snowflake account. Then after that, we're going to create, when we any changes happen in the dev environment, it's going to happen into the test. After that, it's going to happen into the production. Okay, it is like continuous flow. Okay, so this is how you move like data dev to test to program. And next one is scheduling DBT jobs. Next concept. Okay, how you schedule jobs. Okay, even you going to schedule jobs in this environment. You want to move data, simply direct it won't move, you need to schedule the jobs. So how you going to schedule? So there is using Chrome, you have DBT scheduler. or DBT scheduler, someone going to use Airflow and Control M for scheduling the job. These are they going to use in the project. Okay, they will ask, do you have idea about Airflow? If you have any skills, you can tell. Without having skills, don't go with the Airflow, and even don't go with Control M. If you know you have knowledge, or you have taken training, or you have worked, then you tell, yes, I know about those. But without knowing anything, don't tell these things, go with. So in our project we are using in DBT cloud scheduler. So that is we have in the DBT cloud. So go with this one, stick with this. So when you schedule the jobs, we going to run the command like DBT run, DBT build. So DBT build command we going to run in the production environment, not in the dev environment. In dev environment we going to run DBT run or DBT run. If I can select model name like that. But in production run, you're going to run DBT build. It's going to run the first snapshots, then it's going to run models, then test, then again seeds and other incrementals. What it's going to run. Remember this flow. When we run the DBT build, what is the order to run the commands? And when we schedule in the jobs, okay, we're going to give the commands like dbt run, dbt build. Okay, so it's going to run those models and everything. Okay, so this is we're going to use airflow controlling of these things when you are in real time. Okay, so drone scheduling all is there, and alerts, logs. Okay, so this is for dbt cloud. We have drone scheduling. Okay, dbt cloud scheduler. But for dbt core we're going to use airflow controlling and azure data factory. So some clone jobs. Okay, these are typical jobs. Okay, these are we have later మీకు
ట్రాఫిక్ 3 days తర్వాత ఆగేది.
నిన్న జాన్ సెక్ 26 కదా సండే
అందరం బయటకు వచ్చి
బయట ఉంటాం. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ విజయవాడ హైవే ఫుల్ విజ్. So this will happen. Okay, we're going to use the command dbt devs dbt. Okay, so what is CI/CD flow in real projects? Like so developer creates the feature branch. Open is lagging out. So CI/CD flow in real project. నువ్వు ఆ రూమ్ లోకి వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు మెల్లగా వెళ్ళాలి, ఫాస్ట్ గా వెళ్ళకండి. వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు వాష్రూమ్కి వెళ్తారు కదా, మెల్లగా వెళ్ళండి. So CI/CD flow in real project. So what is the CI/CD flow in the real project? Here we have developers first. So they are going to create the branches in the Snowflake. Okay. So if you taken DBT training, then you will get I have shared regarding videos, right? DBT videos. So if you go with those videos, then you will get area what is the branch. So they're going to create the feature, right? Branch. Okay. So it's like tree branch. Okay. So these people going to write like commands, write updates, DBT model, these things. Okay. So pushes code. Yes, they're going to push the code uh, like GitHub. So GitHub, yes, they are GitLab. So we are created and CI runs. They're going to do CI runs. So DBT run and the DBT test. This. So maintain. We're going to match the code. Okay. Production job runs and DBT build command. We're going to do developers. Okay. So developers. Okay. This is our work. Okay. We're going to do so these work also. Okay. So have you handled failures in the DBT? Yep. You know, Rajesh, have you handled failures in the DBT? Have you handled failure in the DBT? Any idea? No. So first we need to check the DBT logs. Okay, so we need to identify the fail, where it fails. So it will give line by line time and everything, right? Step by step. So what is a model or test? Okay, it's going to give the time line by line. So first we need to check the logs. So model, a test. First we need to check code, SQL code. Is it fine? Is it good? Or next we need to go with source file. So is there any? So it's going to. I will call you later. I'm in the class. Okay. So check the data. Sorry, logs. Okay. So first it's going to check. We need to check the SQL code or after configuration, project file or schema.yml file or source to how the source receives the data, moving data. So after again we need to identify, we need to fix it. So first we need to identify after single model if there is. So after we need to run alone that model using DBT run select select model. We need to alone run that model. So after that, then we need to validate the source data. So again we need to check the Snowflake query history. So there you can find it. Okay, and we need to fix and we need to rerun. So this is how we going to fix debugging. First one, go. They will ask, have you handled failures in the DBT? So with the debugging, what is the debugging? So checking the logs, what I have told now, right? So this is the debugging process. Okay. Next question, like so. I will, in our project, DBT models are executed using DBT build in production. So dependencies are managed using ref and source, and test engine data quality. Snapshots handle historical data. So jobs are scheduled via DBT cloud and deployments. So flow of CI/CD workflow dev to prod. Okay. So summary is like ref dependence, DBT run, models, test, data quality, build, production command, DBT seed, static data like CSV files, and DBT snapshot history data. DBT DAX lineage and DAX scheduling, DBT cloud, so airflow. Okay. So this is just go with those questions are provided. So see again, first what we need to know about DBT. So what you have worked on DBT. So you need to tell. So in DBT, I created models like staging, intermediate, models I created. So after that, first created models staging, so intermediate and marked layers in pattern dimension tables. So after that, using test and unique not only accepted value test, or first use word like schema test. I have done schema test. Okay, so schema test is like unique not only accepted value. After that we have custom test. Okay, then so I accessed like sorry, I processed incremental loading using materialization incremental. Then they will go with syntax. They will ask surely they will ask syntax. Okay, syntax. Okay, surely go with syntax. Then after that, I handled historical data using snapshots. Okay, so with using DBT docs generate, I generate the documentations. Okay, documentation. Then I work to macros. I created macros in one folder. So wherever I need it, I use it in that. They will ask syntax of macros also and snapshot syntax also. So main important materialization syntax and that materialization incremental and snapshot. Simple. I created a model staging intermediate mart layer. So after that, I have done a schema test like unique not accepted. Then I processed incremental data using materialization incremental. Then access historical data using snapshot receipt type 2 implementation. Then after that, I have done documentation. This is then I load data from dev to test prod using a DBT hub and also project YML setup. So these I have done my roles and responsibility in DBT like that. You need to explain these things. Okay. So this is complete only those questions they're going to ask what I given. No need to go with other videos. If you wish, you can go. Okay, you can gain some knowledge, but these are main important. First to finish these questions, then go with others. Okay, so answer should be, I will share today questions and answers also. Please write on the notebook same as it is or on your own way. Write it and send to me. Okay, so that is only best learning page. Okay, theory, practical, real time, and what is the interview question on that? First, you need to know about theory, then practical, do practicals, then implement real time scenario, then what is question about that. So this is way of learning. Okay, so I will provide questions and answers. Write it as it is, or you can write it at your home. Okay, so answer should be like telling to the interviewer, not a written language, telling to the interviewer. So it should be like that answer. Okay, so 11 a.m. I have